Not on Facebook. Pause Friday. Okay. Okay, we're going live. It's going.
Awesome.
Okay, we're live. Yay. All right, welcome everybody. It's so good to be here with you for Pause Friday. I'm here live from Sedona, Arizona today. You might be able to know from this beautiful picture behind me. And I'm so excited because I have a very, very special friend and guest with me today, the very talented and well articulated woman, Darcy Luoma. Hi, Darcy.
Hello, I'm glad to be joining you from Madison, Wisconsin.
That's right. We've got multiple places here. Look, I'm even wearing my Sedona t-shirt. I'm all decked out in my Sedona wear because I ran out of clothes. I have zero clothes left on my trip across the country where we will soon be in San Francisco. But yeah,
That sounds like the sign of a successful trip.
Yeah, exactly. My husband was like, you know, if you wear that shirt one more time, I don't know how I'm going to even talk to you. Literally like every day I'm wearing the same shirt. So you won't know what day it is on the pictures and everything. But now I've got two. I've got more. Welcome. So Darcy, I'm so excited to have you here. You and I go way back when we met in Madison when I was there for a talk, I guess, at the Dream Bank, way time long ago. And I know you probably could introduce yourself better than me, but I'll give you a little brief intro. And then would you like to lead us in a pause?
I'd love that.
Yeah, awesome. So Darcy, you mentioned you're based out of Madison now, but you are a master coach. You now have a book out there called Thoughtfully Fit. It just came out in June. I'm excited to get to talk to you about that. And you have a whole team and an organization to really help leaders with who are struggling with their challenges and even, you know, whatever the organization is, and help them literally become more thoughtfully fit, which I love that word because I know you're also a triathlete. You're a woman after my own heart, doing a lot of things. And so, yeah, and you've been doing this for decades. So there's no question that you are an expert. And I'm just so honored that you're here and you have so much to share. So with that, I will ask you, yes, please lead us in a pause that you are probably excited to share in your own way.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rachel. I want to invite anybody who's watching right now or watching the recording to just imagine that you are exactly where you need to be, exactly where you want to be, and that you've made a choice to tune in to this amazing Pause Friday. And I'm going to tee this up to invite you to engage your core. And in the Thoughtfully Fit model, the core is how you can handle yourself intentionally and thoughtfully in any situation. So just like if you are physically fit and you have a strong core, every movement is easier and you're less likely to get injured. It doesn't matter if you're going cross-country skiing or playing around a basketball or just wanting to take the stairs instead of the elevator. Your core is essential for everything. In the same way, Thoughtfully Fit has a core. And when you can build your core, every conversation is easier. Your relationships are easier. Your life is easier. Not because there isn't adversity, conflict, hurdles to overcome, but it will feel easier because you'll handle yourself thoughtfully. Just like if you're physically fit, doing a marathon, the marathon is the same 26.2 miles, the same hills, but if you're fit and have a strong core, it feels easier. So what I'm going to invite you to do today are 3 steps with me to engage your core. And the first step is to pause, to hit the pause button right now and be completely centered and focused and grounded in this moment right here. And so if you are kind of have it on in the background and you're multitasking, you're checking your email, you're making your lunch, to give yourself the gift of a pause. And then step 2 is to think. And in the second step, when you're building your core, the think is all about where you ask yourself thoughtful questions. What do I want to get out of this time right now with Rachel and Darcy? How do I want to show up? What would it look like if I was fully present to this experience in this moment? And then step 3 is to act. And you act with intention based on the new awareness you have from pausing and thinking. And so at this moment, you make your decision to act, whatever that might be, to set down everything, to get your notebook, to take notes, to close your eyes, to meditate, to be fully present. However you want to use this time and gift that you've given yourself of hitting the pause button to be here with those of us kindred sisters who love personal development and professional growth and the ability to try to live a thoughtful, intentional life. This is the core of the model. 3 simple steps: pause, think, and act. And just like if you're going to train and practice to be physically fit, you can use these 3 simple steps, not only right now, right here in this moment with us, but multiple times today, this weekend. You're not going to build your physical core by doing 20 sit-ups once this month. You're going to build it by being consistent and by training. In the same way, when you leave here and you go drive to the grocery store to pick up your groceries, somebody cuts you off, instead of reacting on autopilot in a moment of anger and frustration, pause, take a breath and think. How do I want to show up right now? Do I really want to give away my energy to be angry at this person? And then act. And maybe you just send them some goodwill and, oh, go ahead. It looks like you're in a rush. And you just give them positive energy instead of spiraling and flipping them off and doing those things that just kind of happen when you go on autopilot and go unconscious. That's the power of being thoughtfully fit. It's handling yourself thoughtfully in every interaction. The more you practice those 3 steps, the easier it'll be when you're caught off guard and you're blindsided or you have conflict and you have moments where hitting the pause button is maybe a bit of a heavier lift. It's an honor to be here with you today, Rachel.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Just breathing into that space of intention that you set and how powerful it can be. And I'm curious, if you're watching this now or watching the replay, just type in whatever in the chat you're feeling or what came up for you as you're just in this space, or, knowing there's intention. And I love the PTA, the pause, think, act model. It's so resonant with what we talk about in Pause to Thrive Sisterhood here. And yeah, I feel the depth of the silence too. And I was noticing that you had given us this gift of the stillness when you just sat there and didn't say anything, and how uncomfortable that is. I noticed I wanted to jump in. I didn't know if that was it. And I just waited. I was like, I'm just gonna hold off. I think she knows what she's doing. She's gonna tell us something. And I just think that's so interesting, because I think that's the discomfort that I know I have, and what I think many people have, no matter what, is that discomfort of stillness. And that is where we get the answers. Like, that is your pause, right? The awareness of what's happening. And that's what that's what I feel like needs the courage to get through, or to just sit in and not have to fidget, or not have to pick up the pen, or to pick up the phone, or whatever it is that's right in front of you, probably. So I just want to thank you for presencing that and just modeling it so well.
And it's interesting that you went right to stillness, Rachel, because the Thoughtfully Fit model is based off of thousands of hours of coaching individuals, and it walks through the top 6 hurdles that get in the way of being high performing. The number 1 hurdle is a lack of stillness. The number 1 hurdle of all
that sounds so interesting.
Yeah, of all the clients that I work with, this is thousands of hours of coaching. It was years of development and research where I started to notice that every person that came into a coaching session, whether they were a stay-at-home mom or an executive or a manager, it doesn't matter what their title was, that they all had similar challenges, similar hurdles. And so as I started to categorize like the different players, different details, different flavor, but the essence was the same. And what resulted after a couple of years of research was the model, and that there are 6 hurdles. And the number 1 hurdle that clients bring into coaching is an inability to quiet the mind. There's so much to do, they can't even think. And that aligns with the practice of stillness. And stillness is quieting the mind. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a quiet body or a still body, right? I find stillness sometimes in the most profound way when I'm out for a run, or when I'm chopping my vegetables, or when I'm on a bike ride. So your body doesn't need to be still, but creating that space to quiet your mind can create the stillness. And you're right, it's so magical. It's so powerful.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then we try to do everything but be still. That's the irony of it, and I feel like you and I have definitely learned that, and are trying to create that for support as a system for others. And so tell us in the book, so Thoughtfully Fit has come out. It's a couple months new. You're newborn here. There's some, like you mentioned, there's these six
Practices.
or practices.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about like what that is and how it is this book? And I love the whole analogy to the physical fitness as a rower, as someone who's like, my whole life was sports essentially, until I found the stillness, until I found there was more to than just doing and doing, because that doesn't work all the time either.
It doesn't. And the fact,
model, yeah.
Yeah. And the fact you just mentioned you're a rower. So I just need to share with your guests, if it's okay, that Rachel was just a guest on my Thoughtfully Fit Thursday video. And the week before, yesterday, and the week before, I had an Olympic rower, Maddie Wanamaker, who went to the Olympics in Tokyo. So just amazing that
you're plugged into like the most masochistic sport on the earth, other than triathlete Ironman.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. So the model, the stillness is the first practice, and you have to practice, and it aligns with the hurdle of there's so much to do, I can't even think. The other 2 internal practices and the other 2 internal hurdles where clients come into coaching, where they get stuck, and where they what gets in the way of them being high performing. The second one is, I don't always handle myself the way I'd like. And that correlates with the Thoughtfully Fit practice of strength. Strength is about being able to consciously choose how you show up in any moment, even if you're triggered, frustrated, angry. You arrive late to a meeting because of traffic, and instead of spewing all this negativity, like, oh, traffic was so bad, blah, blah, and all the people sitting there just feel this wet blanket, strength is being able to consciously choose to show up and to self-manage and to bring in, grace and presence and patience in that moment. And then the third internal obstacle where we get in our own way, clients would come into coaching sessions saying, I feel stuck. They're stuck in a job that they don't love, stuck in a marriage that's no longer fulfilling, stuck in a place in their life. And that aligns with the practice and Thoughtfully Fit of endurance. And that's about being able to overcome obstacles. It's about being able to embrace a growth mindset, to get unstuck, to get to the other side. And then there are 3 external hurdles where the challenges are with other people, not just with ourselves. So the first external hurdle is, I'd be fine if only you were different. So clients would come into coaching saying, Darcy, if only my boss would just give me clear instructions. If only my spouse would smile when we wake up, instead of like giving me a to-do list. If only somebody else would change, then I could be happy. And that aligns with the practice of flexibility. And flexibility is being able to stretch to accept others just as they are. And instead of spending all this energy being angry that they aren't the way we think they should be, or spending energy trying to get them to change to be the way we think they should be. And then the other 2 external hurdles. So I have relationships that don't work. So clients come into coaching complaining about a relationship with a neighbor, with a co-chair of a committee they volunteer. Some relationship doesn't work, and they're finding that maybe they're over functioning. Maybe they're the one that's always giving in and saying, oh, it's not a problem. I'll just let them have their way. And in the short term that works, but in the long term, when that relationship is out of balance, it doesn't work. So that aligns with the practice of balance, which is about being able to find the win-win and to achieve alignment in every relationship. And then the final hurdle that gets in the way of being high performing is clients will come in and say, oh, I don't handle myself the way I'd like when I'm blindsided. So you're caught off guard. Somebody, attacks you in a meeting. And instead of pausing to think before acting, you get triggered. They attack you, you attack back. They attack you, you stonewall. They attack you, you cry, whatever it is that your default is. And that's agility. And agility is being able to respond effectively instead of reacting on autopilot.
So good. Wow. So much is there. And I know that you wrote a whole book, and it sounds like years and years of your research and coaching and experience. And so thank you for sharing that. And is there, I know we got to wrap up really soon. I feel like you just got here. There's so much more. So I'll have to have a larger time chunk to explore. But what would you say is, for the women here, anyone listening who is working to thrive, really doing more and knowing that it's not just about the doing, but how do you really feel good in the doing, and having that pause, and also accomplishing all these 6 areas in those skills, those practices. And what would you say is a tip or a hot tip or something that we can all kind of maybe use for ourselves that can help us and guide us towards really moving in that direction for whatever that one of those practices might be that we need next?
Yeah. The tip I would give is to always focus on your choices and control. So when you engage your core and that first step, you pause and then think. In that moment, if you are triggered, if you're blindsided, if you're angry that somebody's not behaving the way you should be, if you're overwhelmed and you get an invitation to attend something, right? Instead of going on autopilot and oh, I don't want them to feel bad if I say no, to ask yourself, what are my choices right now? A lot of times we feel oh, there is no choice, or there's only 2 bad choices, when the reality is there's lots and lots of choices. And then to focus on, what do I control? Okay, I can't control the other person. I can't make them smile. I can't make them not attack me in that board meeting. What do I control right now? I control how I respond. And if you can, in those moments of your life, keep engaging your core, pause and think. And in the think, ask yourself, what are my choices and what do I control? And then act thoughtfully.
So good. That's like, yeah, just one of my biggest mantras myself is like choosing to respond, and then that's personal responsibility. And like, yeah, I'm a big fan of all of that. So choicing, we have the ability and the empowerment to do so. And so we can all choose how we
We
do
can
it
all
at any
choose.
time.
Absolutely. And if anybody's interested in knowing there, if you go to thoughtfullyfit.com, I've got a quiz. It's a 2 or 3 minute quiz. You can take it and find out which of those 6 hurdles is your biggest. And then what are some strategies to overcome that hurdle? Exactly. Like, what do you do right now to be able to be thoughtfully fit to overcome that hurdle?
Yeah, that's great. I'm going to put that in the chat right now.
Awesome.
And then everyone can go there and find out more about you. So your website, darcyluoma.com, right?
That's correct.
Okay, well, I just put that in the chat. And Darcy, it's always so good. We got to see each other more often. I know
I agree.
back to back, but let's hang out more. I enjoy everything you share, and I just appreciate your candor, your truth, your visibility, and just, your clarity on what you offer all of us. So thank you so much. And
Thank you,
for
Rachel.
pausing with us today.
Great to be with you.
Thank you.